And but there were always, and I can remember one chief especially, and his voice would just boom is inside that little longhouse. And he would say, "No, we cannot do this." And he wouldn't let them think of it as any other way than selling the land, selling out their rights to the land. And I can remember the time when the lawyer was there and his secretary and a couple of other people who were very much interested in the claim, but I can remember that they were not actually involved in it at that time. And he was asked, they just seemed to have come to a point where they were ready to settle for this great big 80 million acres, is it? I can't remember now the amount of land, but the major part of New York State. And he asked, he got right up from his place where he sat, and he walked over to the lawyer because the lawyer had not been answering the question that was being asked of him. And he asked him, "Now if we sign for you to go ahead with this claim, are we still going to be the title holders of our lands?" And the lawyer could not answer that yes, we would still be the title holders. I was very young at that time, but I remember it very clearly. And so that was the end of him. And that was the end of that claim. So there have been other people who have tried at different times to bring about a claim, but this particular land rights claim has been in the talking stages for many, many years. And I can remember when they had graph paper out, for everyone to see while they marked out what were the claim areas of the Haudenosaunee claims. And the Haudenosaunee had never made the boundaries. The boundaries had always been made by other than the people. And so this they had to work out. And the people themselves, the leadership themselves, were able to talk and get the understanding to the people that we're not drawing lines like this, and this is ours, this is theirs, and that. And many, many discussions, many years of discussion in order to make it right, in order to make the land rights claim so that it was not going to be hurting anyone, so that it was going to bring about justice, so that it was going to bring about people being able to live together, which is what the original treaties of our people said. The what they call in English the Turo Wampum was the original people of our peoples between the newcomers and our people who inhabited the land. And within that treaty explains really everything that the other treaties could be explained by if they were lived up to. And many of our people here tonight, I know, are supporters or understanding of our claims and our peoples. Within this agreement, this Turo Wampum, it was an agreement that they made so that the people could live together, so that they could coexist in this land, and each would be respectful of the other. Each would be fair to the other, and they would be like brothers. They would be a brotherhood. For within this original treaty, neither one of the peoples involved could be making judgment or could be doing things that would hurt and override their brothers. They were like in two separate vessels, our people in the canoe, and the newcomers were in their big boat. And the laws of each were to be kept within their own vessel. We would keep our own laws, our own ways, our own peoples. They would keep their own laws, their own ways, and their own people. And neither one of these could make judgment over the other. And of course, that's what has happened. That law that treaty, that original treaty, has been in most places just ignored, overlooked. And I can remember in my times as Secretary of the Haudenosaunee, every time a group, a delegation was sent to Washington, D.C. to talk to congressmen and those in power down there. This Turo Wampum was taken and it was explained to them. Of course, every time a new voting time came about, many of those people were unseated and new ones came in. So the next time our people went down to try to resolve an issue, again, the whole thing had to be repeated. And it was just something that they never bothered to research, to investigate, to find out about, to learn about it, to understand it. So that makes a very, very challenging time for our people for all time, because that is not abiding by the original treaty. Now, in our claim, our land rights claim, we have no intention of causing harm or pain to another people like our people have suffered in the past. That would not be right. And what would be right in the eyes of our Creator has been kept in mind as these discussions have been going on through the years. And actually, it's justice that we are seeking. Justice for the whole creation, for the animal life. Their habitat are being destroyed unmercifully, for the bird life, for plant life, for the woodlands, everything that we give thanks for in our opening address and our closing address, are very seriously thought of and considered as we talked or discussed these treaties. The feelings, the spiritual connections have all been utilized in building this land rights action. And as I said, it's been many, many years in the making, and the feeling is that it was just about time before all of creation goes into oblivion or extinction. Because whatever befalls the rest of the creation is going to befall the human also. We're told in our way that in this cycle of the great creation, every bit of that creation gives and gives and gives continually. And we are in that cycle. We are one of them. And we are the only component of that great cycle who are taking and taking and taking. So we must give thanks. That is what our mandate is, to be thankful, to acknowledge all the rest of that cycle, and to give back our thanks, to give back our acknowledgement means that we would treat them right, that we would treat them well, that we would treat ourselves as well. So it's a great big spiritual connection that goes on within the creation that we have put into the thoughts, into the discussions of this land rights action. And we don't want to feel that we are going to be depriving any other living thing, any people, or any of the other inhabitants of this creation, that we are actually responsible for keeping, for taking care of. So, within the Onondaga Nation, we are, about 1,200 people, huh? Just south of the city here. And we have historically, you have probably read it, the Onondagas have been historically the least aggressive, the more humble, or we try to be humble, and the least prone to advancing onto all the new things that come about in the industrial world or in this world of technology now. And the reasons for it is within our ceremonies. Remind us, like the opening address, reminds us of what our relationship should be to all of these other components of the creation that we live off of. So all of that has come into the discussions. All of that has played a major role, a major part of the discussions of our people. And I started to say we are about roughly 1,200 people in our community. And I would say that more than half of our people adhere still to our traditional way, to our longhouse way. We have within our community 5 Christian churches, and we have those who come into the city for their denomination doesn't have a mission. on our land. So of those, the other nearly half, I can't say thirds or fourths because it's no straight line. People who attend those Christian churches at the same time attend our traditional ways. They acknowledge and they respect the leadership. They know who the leadership of our nation are and have been continually. And they realize, even though individuals choose to seek personal gain, that happens all over. That's humanity, I guess. The majority of our people at Onondaga look to our traditional leadership and our traditional ways, our ceremonies. Some of the most remote families that you would think send their children, and their children have brought their grandparents. And even just for the need when they grow up out of their childhood to have a name. So there's a whole lot of meaning to every little thing, I guess I'll say, that we do, even to the giving of our names. And that name is yours until you leave this earth. And when your body remains are placed in the earth, then that name is taken by the clan and it is put away and kept. And for a whole year, no one will use that name. But after the passing of all the seasons, we have it at midwinter time, special ceremony, which tells us now we have come to closure and we're opening up a new season